Hi, I'm Brian. This is Real Estate Nuggets. I'm a mortgage broker, and this podcast is about me interviewing real estate agents to kind of find out what they've learned throughout their process of being a realtor, how they've reached their own level of success. I ask about their failures and their wins, and kind of learn all about them. And the idea is for the listener to walk away with maybe one or two nuggets. So, with that, I would love to introduce my guest today, Ed Billings, out of North Carolina.
North Carolina, you got
North
that
Carolina.
close. That's right.
Let's get started with you telling me, how did you get into real estate and why North Carolina?
Oh, two good questions. And thank you very much, Brian, for having me on. I appreciate it. So I originally got into real estate in San Diego right out of college. I was, freshly minted undergrad, and I was interested in I was a marketing major and was interested in marketing research. And at that time, this was in the mid '80s. Grubb and Ellis, which was at that time the second largest commercial real estate firm in the country, was hiring a research director. And I was somehow able to land that job right out of college. And I ran a little research department. And I think my qualifications were that I was the only one that kind of knew how to use a computer, and that was barely. And I remember in the interview, they asked me, are you familiar with Lotus 1-2-3, which was the precursor to Excel? And I said, oh yeah, I'm familiar with it, because I had read the ads.
So you lied.
Yeah. Oh, of course. And so, no, I was familiar with it. So, didn't say I was an expert at it. And so I got the job, and then I bought a book over the weekend before I started and studied up on how to use Lotus 1-2-3.
And when did you first start in real estate?
I first started in real estate in 1985.
Oh, wow.
April of 1985 at Grubb and Ellis in San Diego, California.
Okay.
And so I ran that little department for 18 months. And during that period of time, I realized, hey, I'm really interested in this. And these commercial guys are making all the money, and I'm giving them all the information. And so I was interested in becoming a commercial realtor. And so to make a long story short, because I was inside the system, I was, assisting 70 top agents. I identified the main guy that I wanted to mentor me, a guy by the name of Rich Kwasny, who was a legend in San Diego. Mm-hmm. And I just browbeated him until he took me on.
Wow.
And he taught me so much, and I owe so much to him. I still reference him all the time. I was in a listing presentation on Monday, and I was quoting him.
41 years ago.
Yep.
Wow.
So I did that. I was in commercial for 8 years. Had a great time at it. At that time, got married, and we knew we didn't want to raise kids in California. So we did a driving trip from Atlanta to Richmond. Mm-hmm. And I had never been to the Southeast. I had never been east of the Mississippi. And we pulled into Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and we fell in love with it.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And
do they play basketball in North Carolina at all?
Yeah, they've been known to. Yeah, they've been known to. So,
is there a specific turning point in your career? And if so, tell me about it.
Yeah. So I had led a cross-country bike trip in 2015, and I had taken 10 weeks off to do that, and I came back, and this was with my son and Boy Scouts, and it was a life-changing trip in a lot of different ways, but that's another podcast. But I came back, and I came back feeling really empty. I had been living in the moment on this trip, and everything mattered, and so many people were reaching out and were present. And I talked to some people about it, and they're like, it's kind of like when you go on a mission, and if you come back, you're seeing things through a different lens. Mm-hmm. And I stumbled coming back. So what I told people is that I was incredibly prepared for the trip and what we experienced out there, but I was not prepared when I came home.
Interesting.
I think there was a little, not to be too dramatic about it, but I think there was a little PTSD. I mean, it was just, I was responsible for 7 teenagers for, riding 4,000 miles across the US.
Yeah.
And I came back really feeling empty.
Hmm.
And I was at an open house and my business was struggling. I was tanking. And I remember I was at a broker open house on a listing I was struggling to sell. It was early in 2016. And an agent came in who had a good relationship with, and she asked how I was doing. And I was kind of honest with her, I said, I'm struggling. And she recommended that I get into Buffini coaching.
And what year was that?
2016. So 10 years ago.
Yeah. Wow.
And I took her up on it. And to make a long story short, what it helped me realize that there is incredible value in what I provide to my clients.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the life event business. I am there for them long term when life events cause a transaction to occur. Mm-hmm. And I can provide my expertise and have meaning with that.
Life events like kids,
divorces, deaths, families grow, families shrink, things happen.
Yeah.
Things happen. So case in point, most recent sale, I'd sold, a good friend of mine and client, their parents, their home. We had a major flood last year in North Carolina. The mother was swept away in a flood and passed away.
Oof.
And the father's legally blind, and so they have to take care of him. And then they needed somebody, all this emotion, and they needed somebody to take care of the sale of that home. Wow. And I was able to do that in a very kind and way.
Yeah.
And then the flip side of it, the listing I'm signed last week, long-term clients, it's like the 5th transaction. They're empty nesters and they're so excited. They bought a home up in Connecticut that it's an antique and they're going to restore it and do everything about it. And it's this incredible new chapter, and I'm there for them. So that was the turning point.
Those opportunities don't come about from advertising on Zillow. They come about from the relationships that you've built, right?
And that was it. I'm a relationship guy. I've always been a relationship guy. It was a natural way for me to work. I always kind of naturally worked by referral and through relationships. Mm-hmm. And at that time, and I was struggling and I'm just getting bombarded with Zillow this and that and different models, very impersonal models on how to drive your lead gen. And it was just noise that was driving me further down.
Yeah.
And when I found the Buffini model, I'm like, wait a second, this is the natural way that I work. It's what I'm about. Now I have coaching that keeps me on track for that. And so it provided that meaning that I was looking for, or recognize. It helped me recognize. It helped me recognize the meaning of what I did.
Perfect.
And to kind of self-actualize in that, and my business has consistently grown ever since.
That's a good answer. My next question has to do with maybe specifics or even techniques, and it is name one habit that you practice that has had the biggest impact on your success.
Making the phone calls, reaching out to people, being there.
Why is that one? Why does that have the biggest impact?
Most agents are afraid of the phone, which just shocks me, and they're afraid that they're going to bother their clients by reaching out, making the calls and stopping by, just showing up and connecting. I think agents, and I've had agents say this, they're afraid, they're fearful that they're imposing.
So you're not afraid of the phone call?
Oh, I love the phone call. And and that's part of my background. It's part of my personality. I'm very extroverted, but I love the phone call. I love the approach. I love the connection.
What do you love about it?
I love the feeling it gives me. I love connecting with people and you know and being a little spark in their day and making that connection. And um,
That's
I don't
funny.
know,
It's
that's
it's interesting to hear your the way you describe it, because I think some people, when faced with making phone calls, they don't love it. They feel like, oh, I don't want to interrupt them. I don't want to be a bother. I don't want to get rejected. You know, there's a list, right? Um, do
and
you
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
do you so knowing that call that, what do they call that, fear of rejection?
Hmm.
I'm sure you've had that. You're a human, so you've, I'm sure, had that in some
Of course.
respects. How do you handle that? How do you handle rejection?
That's tough. I don't dwell on it. I brush myself off and I go on to the next one and I make light of it.
Hmm.
Um, and I mean, you're right. We all are human and nobody likes that. But I try not to personalize it too
Hmm.
much. Um, it's part of my core personality. And I had good training as well to kind of help bring that out. But, even in high school and a kid, I was good at that.
Hmm.
Um, and I could just navigate through those situations. But like I did, senior year and like in summer of senior year in high school, I was like doing telephone surveys and could keep people on the phone for a half an hour to give their opinion back when that was a thing. And if they hung up, I'd call them back and I'd say, "I'm sorry, did I offend you? Because if I did, you can talk to my manager. But if not, could we continue?" And
Hmm.
this is like at 19 years old, so I
Yeah.
could do that.
Wow.
And I think I have just some of that fortitude.
All right.
I
So you say you've just got it.
got it.
That's just who you are. So does
Yeah.
that mean that if somebody doesn't have it, you think they're unable to handle rejection, or do they have to? Is it learnable?
I think it's learnable. Yeah, it's like any skill. I think the way to get to learn how to handle rejection is to get rejected,
Hmm.
and to power through it. And I think to realize that um, you got to meet people where they are. And I mean, I don't do cold calling. So it's not that. I mean,
Hmm.
I've done that, but if for me, I'm like, wait a second, I'm calling people I've done business with in the past.
Hmm.
I'm off, and I'm usually throwing some party or I'm checking in on them and their story. They're going to be excited to hear from me. If they're not, if I catch them at a bad time, I'll be respectful of that. And if
Yeah.
somebody rejects you, be respectful of that. And I think where people get in trouble is they take it personally and they try and convince the person not to reject them, and that's not
Yeah.
what that's about, right?
I want to ask you a different question. This has to do with like this year, at least in the Phoenix market, has been very kind of starts and stops. Like I can't say that it's been a tremendous year. It's had moments of busy and moments of slow,
Yeah.
and repeat, busy, slow, busy, slow. So my question for you is, when your business slows down, how do you stay productive?
Oh, that's such a great question. And I was talking to another agent about this because we're kind of in this summer slowdown a little bit right now.
Hmm.
A lot of agents. I mean, I'm actually pretty busy, so I'm blessed. But we were talking about it, and there's working in your business and there's working on your business. And so if you're slow in your business, look for ways to work on your business and improve your business and lean into your lead gen. Like that's a great time to be talking to people. A few years ago, I went into a spring where I didn't have much going on. I was much slower than I normally am, excuse me. And we're very seasonal in the Southeast, just with weather and stuff. And so I said, okay, I'm going to set a personal challenge. I'm going to go preview every home that comes on in my market. And when I go into it, I'm going to think, who do I know that lives in the neighborhood?
Hmm.
And text it to them and say, hey, I just previewed this home, made me think of you.
Wow.
And I did that, and in my micro market, I'm like, I'm going, great time to preview. And then guess what? I got busy.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ways to stay busy. I mean, it's the World Cup's going on right now. If you're slow right now, you need to be talking to your people about the World Cup. Everybody's excited about it.
That has been the most common answer to this question from anyone else that I've talked to. That talk to people.
Talk to people.
Talk to people.
And just be there. But I mean, I don't know about you. Do you guys have World Cup fever out there? No.
No, I feel like they're trying to create it.
Oh, okay.
But
We got it here.
I don't think it's organic. I don't think it's, at the grassroots level quite so much. It could be, and I'm just not connected to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think so.
Yep.
Okay, let's see. I've got some other good ones for you. You ready for the next one?
Yeah, bring them.
Tell me about your biggest failure and how you recovered from it.
Oof. That's a good one. So there's a lot of them. Because that's how you're learning. So I think when you fail, you got to take that as feedback, right? It's a learning thing. Kids learn to walk by falling down. They stand up, they figure it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest one, it could have knocked me out of the business, and it goes back to my commercial days. I was a young agent, not making any money, and my mentor and another agent, we got the exclusive opportunity to represent Shell Oil at that time for their land division. And what they had done, they would go and they would buy land, raw land, improve it, sell lots, and just create industrial parks. And they had a whole division that did that. And their reputation was they did a tremendous amount of due diligence. But they always closed. Once they went under contract, they had never not closed. And we tied up a tremendous amount of, we spent a year working with them. And Rich, my mentor, is like, hey, this is going great, but keep working on other stuff. You never know. Keep working on other stuff. And I was the young guy, so I was building all the data and I was learning all the market. We knew where all the bodies were buried. We knew it. And to make a long story short, at that time in the mid 80s, oil prices were going through the floor. And then they had a major plant blow up in India, and they had their stock fell down, and they did not close on those transactions. Out of business overnight.
Wow.
And we had been working on other stuff. And I mean, the one of the three, one guy knocked him out of the business. And Rich and I had been working on enough other stuff to where we dusted ourselves off and said, let's keep going. And we were able to survive. So always, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Mm-hmm.
Think the long game, and you're going to get setbacks like that, but you got to be able to dust yourself off and move forward.
Yeah, that sounds like that would have been a heavy one.
It was heavy.
Yeah. Okay, so on the flip side of that, so we're not going to focus on your failures, all of them. We're not going to.
We don't have enough time.
but I do know that you also have had success, and you've got a successful business and career. So my question is, why have you found success when so many others have not?
I'm consistent. Consistency.
Consistent in what way?
In my lead generation and in just being there for people and just being consistent. I do the basics consistently. I listen to my coach. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes.
What are those basics? Give me an idea. Give me a snapshot.
I build a marketing plan out each year, and I have certain things that I like to do, or that for my lead gen, I follow that plan. A few years ago started by saying I'm going to have in the first quarter of the year 300 contacts with my sphere in the first 90 days of the year. That's made my business grow exponentially by doing that, because it just kicks off the year. And so I measure what I do, and I'm pretty consistent about it. I mean, we all
Mhm.
have seasons. And then I lean into my strengths. I really like events. I like to put on events and be there for people. So that's kind of what I do. Like I'm doing a World Cup watch party.
Cool.
So I've rented a restaurant where, I've got it reserved. Food and drinks are on me. I'm stopping by and seeing clients, dropping off a little gift for them. And I'm measuring the amount that I'm doing that, and I'm calling my clients. So I do that around those seasons and things, and
Mhm.
just consistently doing it.
Not a secret, is it?
No, it's not.
All right. We've got time for maybe 2 or 3 questions. So I'm going to try and pick the 2 or 3 best ones that I haven't asked you yet.
Okay.
What is one piece of advice that you'd give to another agent who is perhaps starting out?
Oh, I'll give a few pieces of advice.
Okay.
If you're just starting out, inventory every person you know, like work on that sphere of influence. People buy from people they know and trust. And so get that sphere of influence and be in contact with them. That's number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two is get into a coaching program. Don't try and do it alone. I did it alone for a long time. This is my I'm going into my 25th year residential in Chapel Hill. 15 of that I did it on my own, and I wish I would have not done that. And then number three, and I gave this piece of advice out at sales meeting yesterday. Our broker in charge was like, what do you do when you're working with a buyer and they're not motivated? And people were saying, I said, stop. I said, go find a motivated buyer. Go find a motivated buyer. They're out there. People spend too much time trying to make the unmotivated motivated. Go find the motivated buyer.
Sounds like it'd be easier if you could find a motivated buyer than trying to change a buyer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not original. A good friend of mine, an agent when I was in commercial, Scott Williams, he got down literally to his last $10. He was like, I got to front my rent. Can I sleep on your sofa if I need to? I said, buddy, you got it. And he fought his way back, and he said to me, Ed, life got a lot easier for me when I stopped trying to make the unmotivated motivated.
Mm-hmm.
And worked on finding motivated buyers and sellers.
That's good. I like that.
So that's it.
Okay. How long do you think you'll do this for? I can do it forever.
At least the next 5 years.
How old are you now?
Oh, now we're getting personal. Okay.
Yeah.
64.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
Well,
yeah, that's kind of, I have the same kind of, I don't know, timeline. I'm thinking around 68, 69, somewhere around there.
Yeah. I think at least, when I'll stop, Brian, I'll stop when I'm not relevant. If I feel like, and I think it's like a coach, coaches like, the portal came and, NIL came and they don't know how to relate to these kids anymore. That's when it's time to move on. But as long as you're relevant and being able to serve your clients and do it, I wouldn't stop. It's hard. There's a great quote a local agent here told me. He said, real estate, it's a really good business. It's a really easy business to get into, really hard to get out of. Because, your people, if you're loving on them and doing everything right, it just comes your way. And, what are you supposed to do? And it's kind of, you get that juice from putting the deal together and doing that. It's fun.
It's a relationship business. And when it's hard to just say, yeah, I'm going to build all these relationships and then walk away.
Yeah. What are you going to do? I had an old time client of mine who was a physician. He said, yeah, I'll retire when all my patients die. He was a family doctor, and he pretty much did that. Yeah. So, I think that's, as long, it's like a coach. If you're not relevant and you're not winning, then you probably have to look at it. But as long as you are, you're probably coming back.
I think this was a good interview.
Well, I appreciate it.
It's fun to use that. No, really, you've done it right, and you're doing it right. So I appreciate you sharing with everybody just a few things that that make Ed Billings Ed Billings.
Well, thank you so much, and happy to help anybody along the way. And appreciate you reaching out and setting this up, and was flattered that you thought to think of me. So thank you so much.